Hey everyone, welcome back to Artsy D. Today I'm going to show you 6 beautiful watercolor flowers that are perfect if you're just getting started with watercolor. And the best part is I've got some free printable templates for you, so you don't even have to worry about the drawing part. And I'll show you a couple of those at the end. Before we jump in, and if you're new here, I share watercolor tutorials, sketchbook ideas, and free templates every single week. So hit that subscribe button and give this video a like so you don't miss any of them. It really does help me out. Alright, let me run through the supplies I'm using today. For my brushes, I like using the Escoda Versatile or Ultima brushes. They hold the color and the pigment really beautifully. I like to use a ceramic palette because I find I can blend colors and mix colors really beautifully and it doesn't stain the surface and it's really easy to clean. And I'm using my Gansai Taki paints today, although I often use my Winsor Newton Cotman range, which are also really beautiful and of a very good quality. For this demonstration, I'm using 150 gram mixed media paper, which is great for watercolor, but it's also great for printing on your printer. Printers can often be sticky printing on very thick or heavy watercolor paper, especially because the best watercolor paper tends to be about 200 gram, 300 gram. So I found this holds water pretty well and you can put it through your printer quite easily. So yes, so that's what I'm using today. In fact, this is the paper that I'm using. It's A4 mixed media paper pad, and I just literally tear out the sheets and I pop it in my printer and it seems to work beautifully. So maybe your printer won't be as sticky as mine, maybe it will work fine with watercolor paper, but that's what works for me. All right, let's have a look at 6 easy flowers that you can try out in your sketchbook. These are great because you can use them for gifts, for card making, or for your own personal framed art at home. Our first flower is a daisy, and this one is so lovely to start with because it's really forgiving. I mixed up some cadmium yellow for the center, and I just dotted it in there. I wanted to leave some white so that it created that sense of light in the center. And then I mixed up some of my ultramarine blue, and very carefully I just went along the outlines of the petals, and I put more of the blue on the petals that lay under the top petals. So the ones on top, the overlapping petals, I left quite white just to give it that sense of a white daisy, but just enough blue to add shadows. And then I used some of my sap green and some forest green to paint out the stem and the leaves. And I also just quickly filled in my little ladybird with some red. The next flower, one of my favorites, it's a poppy, and I love painting poppies because the colors are just gorgeous. I used cadmium scarlet for the main petals. It's this beautiful warm red. And I added a tiny bit of alizarin crimson into the center while it's still wet for that darker, moodier depth. This particular technique is called wet on wet, and it's one of my favorite watercolor techniques because the colors just blend themselves. So you paint in the water, clean water, and then you drop the colors in. So I dropped in my red and then I dropped in my yellow, and I really got a beautiful watercolor bloom effect there. For the center of the poppy, I just did a little bit of sap green, and then for the stem and the bud, I went for that sap green. I used it with a little bit more pigment, and then I went over it again once it was dry just to create a bit of shadow, and I also dropped in a little bit of red into the poppy bud. Now for the rose. Roses can feel really complicated, but I promise you it's actually quite simple when you break it down. What you're going to do is you're going to wet your brush and paint in every alternate petal. So I started with this one, and then I painted that one, and so I basically skipped a petal between each petal. And what that allows you to do is create more structure so that when you are painting color into one petal, it doesn't bleed into the very next, and you can sort of tell which petals are which, because there are so many petals on a rose that you can get lost as to where you are. So yes, I painted in water. I then used some of my lovely cadmium scarlet. In fact, actually I used rose madder for the basic pink of this rose, and I dropped that in. I moved it around slightly with my paintbrush, and then I went ahead and dropped in some yellow, and then I went over it and dropped in some permanent rose just to give it a slightly shadowy effect to create a bit of depth, but I wanted to keep this quite loose. I wanted the colors to bleed into each other slightly to give it a loose rose feel, not too structured. For the stem and the leaves, I used some forest green, some light sap green, and I also used some sap green deep for this one. The other thing I want to mention is that you can see that I left some white outlines around the edges of the petals just to give it a little bit of a lift, and so that we can differentiate between where each petal lies and the background. Flower number 4 is the tulip, and these are really one of the easiest flowers to paint because the shapes are quite simple and they are very effective. As you can see, I decided to paint this tulip a lovely violet color, and I literally painted in each petal with water, and then I dropped in some color. And for this particular color, I used imperial purple, and then I dropped in some ultramarine on top of that to give it that bluish tinge. As you can see, we have a beautiful bloom. I dropped in the color, the main pigment, from the base of the petal and let it bloom upward to the top of each petal, and that creates dark to light and creates interest in the flower itself. I painted the stem and the leaves, once again using some forest green and some sap green, and then I loosely painted my little bee with some yellow and some black. Flower number 5 is lavender, and lavender is really such a calming flower to paint, and that's really what I wanted to get across with this painting. And so I went for some lovely violets and purples, and I also just added some very subtle, this was a sap green in the background, but I actually mixed in a little bit of my violet with the sap green just to subdue the color slightly, so it's not too bright and bold, just so that the entire aesthetic is quite calming. I think the key here is not to overthink it. Just little dabs and dots of color. It almost feels like stippling, and you can leave some gaps because real lavender isn't perfectly solid. For watercolor, we want that kind of impressionistic effect. And as I said, for the stem, I used sap green with a tiny bit of purple mixed in, which gives it that slightly grey-green look that real lavender stems have. Our last flower is the sunflower, such a happy flower to paint. I used a bright yellow for the petals. It's gorgeous, bright, transparent. And for the center, I mixed up some warm ochres, and I actually painted over some burnt sienna. However, my center could really do with a lot more work, and that I'm going to do later on, but I should have left some white areas in the center just to create a bit of contrast. However, I really do like my petals, and I like the looseness of this leaf. For the stem, this one was nice and thick. Sunflowers do have chunky stems, and sap green deep worked really well for creating those shadows. Okay, so those are your 6 flowers. Now, including these 6 shapes, these 6 flower templates that I've painted into today, I've also created some other ones. So altogether, you can download this full set. The link is in the description below. And these just give you the outline so you can practice the painting without worrying about the drawing. Drawing is really important, and it is something that I really recommend you do regularly. But if you want to get into the painting part and you don't want to worry about the fine details and getting proportion, etc. accurate, then definitely go and grab these templates so that you can try this out in your sketchbook, on your own watercolor paper at home. You can make cards, gifts, etc. So just print them out on mixed media paper, or you can trace them using a light box or your window, and you're ready to go. I hope you enjoyed painting along with me today. If you found this helpful, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you here. Let me know in the comments which flower you're going to love painting first. Happy painting, and I'll see you in the next one.